used to look at naked people on the internet. Now we look at motherboards.
Yeah, now we look at motherboards. So basically,
Trust me, all about
Naked
doing
people
those.
holding motherboards.
Young drunk.
Do you know how much knowledge and political gamesmanship William Penn statue has accumulated over the years? It's been on City Hall for 115 years. 150 years worth of corruption, backroom dealing, and spelling the Eagles chant wrong. I think that means he'll probably beat Ben Franklin. What do you guys think?
So, from downtown, we are talking back to our statues in Philadelphia.
welcome to Tubby Talk.
It never stopped, except from the last couple episodes. And they go right back in the statue.
Yeah, and it's amazing how that's kind of become an evergreen topic in our lives. Like every couple days it'll come up, but what if that statue?
Well, I think about it anytime I walk downtown, though. Like,
Yeah.
or I
It's like
just had a
no
shoot
statue.
downtown, and I'm like, there's a statue there. He'd be a pretty good fighter. He'd be great in the Ben Franklin army. Because originally it was the Franklin Force.
Yeah.
I think we said the Franklin Force would overtake William Penn using their combined intellect and various weaponry around Pennsylvania.
One of our employees,
Philadelphia.
one of our employees, Michelle, just mentioned to us earlier that William Penn must have accumulated all this knowledge from being at their City Hall for 115 years. So he might be able. It might have raised some of his stats, like his speech stat, or his stealth stat, or his deception stat,
Just due to location.
Yeah,
Well,
because I wasn't even thinking of many of the mental stats of the statues. I was thinking physical stats. But he might be able to like make treaties that other ones can't make, or he'll be able to set parties against each other, maybe cause stirred discord within the Franklin Force.
I still think the Franklin Force would overcome because I see them as a hive mind going into that Franklin Mills master Zordon-looking creature that essentially is the leader. That is the culmination of all the Franklin Force minds together.
Yeah, and like on top of that, like I just see Ben Franklin as having a 10 in intelligence, or 9 or 10 in charisma. Like already, like
Definitely charisma.
Yeah, like he's just already up there. So William Penn, I don't think he can beat him. He might match him, but I don't think he's going to surpass Ben Franklin in that.
Now, I love that Michelle's getting involved here, but my thought, Michelle, is that William Penn is a Quaker and therefore incorruptible. I think his very essence would not allow him to receive the information you're saying. Now, if Ben Franklin was on top of that, Franklin's a dirty dog, so I'm sure that he would have. I think he was corrupted a few times. An intelligent man, but not without flaws.
I mean, depends what you sometimes you consider dalliances in foreign countries corruption.
I would.
Which I guess you in that time you would say yes.
No, I think I agree with Terry on this one because William Penn was very, he made relatively fair treaties with the Native Americans and like he was like, oh, I'm going to set out to make an equitable city. And then apparently his children were monsters and like dropped all the things that he was trying to do. And they're like, well, Dad's dead. Now it's ours. Yeah. Oh, so what you guys think about the Switch 2?
Yeah.
Would that be Ben Franklin in a fight? Should somebody make this game for Switch 2? Should we make this game
statue
for
fight on Switch 2.
But so Switch 2 was announced.
Yeah.
It looks just like the Switch 1, but with better Joy-Con connectivity as far as I hope.
It's
How'd you react?
It's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit bigger?
Yeah, it's bigger. It's like a decent amount bigger.
It is. So when you saw it, what was your physical reaction to it and do the actual thing? For me, it was like,
Literally mine was like,
Yeah, I was kind of like, so the leaks were all right.
yeah, exactly. I was like, so this was confirmation of all the leaks. Got it.
Well, yeah, and
It showed
which was
nothing else.
serious anticlimax, right? Like
Yeah.
all the leaks, and usually you get
you're right.
you get a lot of the leaks, and they're kind of wrong and they're wacky and they're left field. These all leaks went to the same place.
Well, this one was crazy too because one of the leaks was at CES 2025. Like they just showed it.
Yeah.
They just showed the thing.
And you,
I can't remember the company that did it, but it was just. I remember there was
Like when accessory companies or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was like Icon or something like that.
I honestly could have used some more hoaxes. Like I don't feel there was enough
Yeah.
in the way of hoaxes this
No,
whole
like
time.
mock-ups. With the advent of AI, why weren't there more hoax Switch 2?
An utter absence of hoaxes. Is pretty much what we're saying here.
But like, yeah, I was very happy that some of the leaks were accurate, like the magnetic Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just the leaks.
I didn't catch stealth drop of Mario Kart 9, though.
Yeah.
I thought they
That
were
was
just
cool.
showing Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know that it wasn't just Mario Kart 8 because they've re-released it 18 million times now, or like updated it.
See the Switch 2 trailer, please?
The announcement trailer.
We don't need to hear it or anything, but if we could just see it in the background.
It didn't have any like voiceover, but I imagine the voiceover would have been, "Isn't this what you wanted? Are you not entertained?"
Yeah, we've got it up here now, and this is a good thing, actually. This is good to digest, because I went into it quite excited, but what I got, I guess, is what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like a sense of wow or anything.
Yeah, like
And the way they presented it is very simple. It's just like, hey, it's sleeker, it's bigger, and
yeah, here's
the
Switch,
connections
we
are
turn
better.
it, just Switch 2.
They didn't do. I got nothing about games though.
No. The only thing about games is that, hey, Mario Kart probably 9 is the thing.
I mean, it does have a cartridge slot
Yeah,
too,
But
which you
these
can
two
see
things,
in
I didn't notice that. These two things are pretty cool. The kickstand is very cool.
Yeah.
For those of us who have the original Switch, which I was gifted by these wonderful gentlemen early on in this show, there are some comfortability things that look like there's some upgrades. There's some,
The Joy-Cons aren't made for 5-year-olds anymore.
yeah,
Now they're made for 8-year-olds.
they're made for adult children, not children.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is great. It's great. It's just like not exciting.
Yeah, as an ad, I don't feel it's exciting, but also I think it's to your point earlier. It's what they said we were going to get.
Yeah.
It's what other people
This
said.
this
we
was the
were gonna
most exciting part when they showed them being used as mice.
Yeah. Although, like, trying to imagine that ergonomically is weird, but
Yeah.
get. Well, it means Mario Paint's back.
I mean, it would be great.
Yeah.
I would love to see some Nintendo weirdness, and that's the Nintendo weirdness in this thing. It's like, hey, what are they going to do with it? I don't know.
That was the weirdest thing to me.
What?
That the guys who were calling out, this is what the logo's going to look like, were right.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, we have to talk about this. My cousin, Kevin McGuire, I think no relation, but he is the one who introduced me to video games as a whole. And as soon as this came out, he said, huge miss on Nintendo's part. It could have been the Super Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people were saying
How
that.
do you miss that?
The thing is,
How
like,
do you miss that?
the branding would work really well with kids who grew up in the 90s. Outside of that, I don't know if it would work.
Yeah, there's a whole generation of
I
people
love
that
Super Mario. Why don't I want Super Nintendo Switch too?
there are people that played Super Nintendo when it came out that have grandchildren now that would be old enough to play Switch 2. Like they'd be like, that my grandparent played that. I don't want that.
I mean, it would have been more interesting than Switch. Switch 2, I think, is smart because, like, they know that the Wii U was I think the name was the biggest thing that
Yeah.
killed the Wii U. And
The Wii U makes it sound like an upgrade to the Wii.
Or did they fall victim to everyone knows what we're going to do? Let's just do what everyone's expecting.
I still believe they fell victim to everybody that has a Wii isn't. A lot of people that bought Wiis wanted a Wii because people had Wiis.
Yep.
They don't care about the next Wii. They
Mhm.
have a Wii.
yeah,
Why would they get another one?
we have Wii at home.
Yeah, why would they get a 2? They
But
have one.
I actually feel the same way about the Switch. So I think this is interesting. I don't think everyone's going to rush out and get a Switch 2.
Mm.
Now
I
the
am.
marketplace says it will, and I will as well. But you had to have a Switch because Nintendo established themselves as a thing that was not Xbox, PlayStation, or even a video game console. It was just you have your thing, but you got to have a Nintendo. Because Nintendo's got Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. Like
Well,
I just feel that
yeah.
way. So I don't know if it's going to be the massive success. However, pre-orders are saying it should be.
Well, so it depends too, because Switch 2 is backwards compatible with Switch 1. Doesn't
Yep.
mean if they artificially limit, well, not even artificially, if they just limit Switch 2 digital games to only work on the Switch 2, that's one reason right there. Same thing with the 3DS from the DS. There wasn't a lot of reason to upgrade except for the games you can only play on 3DS.
Right, and it's those
Yeah.
games that drive it. And really, I think that's part of what's not exciting about this trailer is they're not saying what games are coming out.
Yeah, the one game they do show is the game that's been the most shown game for Switch and Wii U. So it didn't look like Mario Kart 9. It looked like Mario Kart 8.
Dylan, can I see the just the Mario Kart footage of this? It's right about in the middle of the trailer. Yeah, you bring up a great point. I don't think people buy Nintendo for the hardware. They buy Nintendo for the Nintendo games.
To the right.
Yeah, right,
Yep,
here.
right here.
Peaks are you?
And I want to get a look at Donkey Kong here because this is how people noticed.
Yeah, because apparently he doesn't
That was-
look like this
So
I couldn't even tell if this is the movie Donkey Kong, and I don't remember when I.
That's not the movie Donkey Kong. No.
Yeah, I can't see the difference.
here, pause it there. Yes, you can absolutely see it. In the back, that Donkey Kong is the movie version of Donkey Kong.
Fuzzier.
Yeah, but
He has Harry. His eyes are closer.
It's
if
mostly-
that's
yeah.
possible, but
Yeah, I was like, they're already pretty close and pretty sunken.
they're smaller, closer, and the brow is relaxed, which the rare Donkey Kong has always had like a furrowed brow at all times,
Yeah.
like it's part of his skull. But this is kind of more of a goofy Donkey Kong, which I kind of dig.
well,
to be
actually,
honest.
I like that it is closer to the Super Nintendo's Donkey Kong Jr. Like he looks more like Donkey Kong Jr. now, and less like Rare's Donkey Kong.
And a little bit more like the original like cabinet.
Cabinet Donkey
Yeah.
Kong.
Yeah, on like the drawing of Mario and Donkey Kong, which that's fun. And there's a lot of stuff to look at in this short 5-second trailer. Like, it shows that there's probably 24 players because there are 24 place markings when they first zoom in.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so that's doubling what you can do now.
You, Eagle Eyes, yeah.
Oh yeah. See, yeah. There's like 3 rows of 8. It looked like.
Yep, and
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11.
Maybe. Yeah.
and as it's going out, it'll zoom up a little bit, and it shows. It kind of looks like a much larger world than your typical Mario Kart.
Oh yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, and see, it zooms up and out, and there's like roads that are crossing other roads. So like, is there a little bit of an open world thing going on, or is this just like a course that changes?
Open.
I would love a Mario Kart Burnout Paradise.
Right, Mario Kart.
That'd be like my favorite game in
Now,
years.
from what I do understand, and I don't think it's this thing on the right that looks like just a fake restaurant. Apparently, in this Mario Kart, there are going to be pit stops
Mhm.
where you have to like stop and get your tires changed and things like that. So
They're gonna have like a Grand Prix mode or Le Mans mode or something.
stars down there. Oh, that must be.
That's just like bumping.
Yeah, that looks like anime.
But what I love about that building, so it's a Yoshi's Diner.
which should exist in real life. Like,
Yeah,
what are we doing?
But you look at it, you're like, okay, obviously it's a cheeseburger in the front trying to be a diner, but it's also Yoshi's head at the same time. That's his nose. Like,
oh my God!
it's reference on
so
reference.
cool.
Look at it, like that kind of design.
That's so cool.
It's
That's
really
Nintendo,
cool.
man.
Right.
That's a Nintendo.
That's where you see the love coming through.
So I have a
But
question
those
for you
maces
guys.
also mushrooms in the background.
Do you guys think?
Oh yeah, you're right. The mesas do look like mushrooms in the background.
Ah. Do you guys think Nintendo will ever publish for other platforms and just go straight gaming? Why would they? I don't know. But do you think they
Ever like I can conceive of a future where that happens. The Nintendo of now in the current climate, no, I can't conceive of it happening.
Yeah.
A reason for them.
Yeah, the only thing I see it happening would be they really want to keep their software game. They're going to get games out to the world, and they don't have a system to do it on. Like Sega did it because Dreamcast failed at such a crucial time for them, and failed so badly that they were like, we're not making more hardware.
see? I
So
thought they
started-
did it because Nintendo don't.
They're like, Nintendo's not going software. We're going to go software.
Well, let me ask.
Unfortunately, it was money.
You guys are way more hardware tech than I am. What are the improvements? What are we getting from Switch 2?
But don't
Are
let me
we
in there. 'Cause I
4K?
didn't even notice it was that much bigger. I assumed it was the same size as the OLED,
Yeah.
but that was not much bigger than the current Switch, right?
No, it's
The
the same
screen is
size.
bigger, but the
screen-
body's the same size.
So the
It had the
bezel's smaller,
kickstand,
but
though.
it's the
Yeah.
same size.
I thought it was
the same Joy-Cons going in.
I
and
thought it was
everything.
bigger, and the Joy-Cons just like fit on it.
Yeah,
slightly bigger.
It's identical, so it's bigger. I actually wasn't.
Oh, okay.
I think it's too big. Like, I think the current Switch is like,
Because it looks too much like an iPad to you.
yeah, it's just like it's not a portable device as much. Like,
Well, you're going where I'm going to go next, so we'll just
Yeah,
jump to it.
well, I'll
Is
give
that-
it-
it
okay.
looks like a Steam Deck.
yeah, it's kind of
Way
getting
taller.
closer.
Yeah, they're
to
not
that
as
Steam
tall,
Deck
though.
size.
Steam Deck's not that tall though. Like
No, they are.
Look,
as the Switch 2 looks.
Yeah,
but
taller.
They are
They're
clearly competing. Like Nintendo clearly saw the Steam Deck doing something and is
No,
It's hard to say. I would say like,
disagree. I think Nintendo saw what they did and like, let's do it bigger.
or
because-
more. I think they're just two different. Like the hardware is a similar form factor, but
Yeah.
like Steam's whole thing is we play PC games and we're working to make every PC game work on this piece of hardware. And Nintendo's just like, we don't care about
They
that.
don't give a F about.
We're just playing Nintendo games.
Yeah.
And
so
I
you're
feel
talking like from a power standpoint.
from a
Like they
power,
don't need the
mostly from a
Nintendo to be.
software. Yeah, they don't.
Nintendo only needs to be as powerful as a Nintendo game requires.
Yeah, or they're just not even thinking about it. They're just like, Valve isn't thinking about any other market other than the PC market. That's all they care about, which is a broad, huge market. But they're trying to make it so, like, all right, how can we make the widest variety of games from across the decades play on this thing? And that's why it's got like dual touchpads in addition to the dual joysticks.
Or input overload.
It's got so many buttons.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, like yes. And like but it's not even Nintendo games. Like Nintendo wants to make it powerful enough for their software partners to want to make games for them.
Yeah,
like they've had generations where the Capcom's like, well, I'm the only person making games for you that's not Nintendo because nobody else wants to do it. I'm
curious. How much money does Nintendo make off of Nintendo games versus third-party games? I assume they make more money off of their own games on their own software than third-party developers.
But they get a couple of games that are.
So they definitely make more revenue on the Nintendo games
license, right?
because they sell more and it all goes to them. But the thing is, they have to spend a lot more money to make the games, developing the games. Third-party games, they just license.
First-party games represent 81% of total software revenues.
Yeah, which is easy to believe when you see like the title, the number of Mario Kart 8s that have sold. Like it is the killer app and still sells every week. People are buying that.
The entrepreneur in me says like, stop doing third-party. Just do your own stuff.
But the third party's easy money.
Yeah, they don't have to do anything for that.
It's only $6.6 billion. No,
yeah, that money funds the games that they make, and then they release like 3 games a year. Nintendo.
I don't know.
You're not going to have a system thrive off of 3 games a year.
But as a brand, I would love that. Like to be like this exclusive powerhouse of just we're going to release 3 awesome things and everyone's going to buy it.
Exclusive as its own feature though. Sometimes
I guess.
Like,
yeah, I think
I get what you're saying, but yeah,
I'm just thinking like, as a brand, it's interesting.
It sells the device much better to have people other than Nintendo produce games for it. Like it's
how I don't understand.
Well, okay, so you're like, all right, I'm going to buy all the Nintendo games, but I'm missing out on that Assassin's Creed game or on you want
to play
Konami
FIFA.
Games.
I can't play FIFA. I want to play FIFA on the go. You get a Steam Deck or you get a Switch. You can play FIFA on the go. You can't play FIFA on the go with a PS5.
See, my attitude.
You play FIFA in another room in your house with a PS5 and a laggy connection, but you can't even leave your house. A Switch, you can stream FIFA onto it, or MLB The Show, they started doing a couple years ago, and play baseball on the bus. You can't play baseball on the bus with the other systems.
Wait, we talk about, I guess.
That's a great point.
Unless you play Mario Baseball, which I don't, have they made that for the Switch yet?
They have. It wasn't great.
Okay.
But you mentioned about like
sluggers,
the internals, the power of this thing, and it's basically known by the turbo nerds on the internet now because according to all the leaks that were already right about the exterior, came with. We know what we know what the motherboard looks like. We know what the chips look like. People have measured them and like basically determined, this is this chip. Yeah. So
we used to look at naked people on the internet. Now we look at motherboards.
Yeah, now we look at motherboards. So basically,
trust me, the internet is all about
naked
people doing
holding motherboards. That is where the lane we're in.
Like but like the third-party software partners are where those leaks come from. Now you can see a world where Nintendo's like, I don't want any of this info getting out.
It's not. Yeah, this is actually from the Chinese plants that are manufacturing the Switch.
So they got a hardcore leak because dev kits have gone out already.
Yeah.
Obviously, because that's another way they have leaked things in the past. Like third-party developers will have the dev kits, and somebody will be like, "Oh yeah, I got it. Here it is. Here's the stats. Here's the specs."
And we're late to the party here, but like the leaks have been absurd with the Switch 2.
Yeah, they've been a lot
more than I've ever seen,
like without a hack at least. Like,
but in terms of the power, so the current Switch, it's about 10-year-old chip. It's the NVIDIA Tegra. It's very old. And when it came out, it was like 3 years old. So it's been around for over 7 years in the Switch. This basically it'll be about 2-year-old technology when it comes out.
So similar to the time, if you go back in time, it's like we're using something a little less.
Yeah. Nintendo likes to go with not the bleeding edge. They go with a proven type of hardware that they know works, that they can produce at a cheaper rate than the bleeding edge.
Yeah, and the difference is this is 10 years later.
It's the bleeding corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're using a chip that is 9 years older than the last chip they used.
Newer. 9 years.
9 years newer than the last chip they used. But in those 9 years
of computing,
still that 9 year in the world computing, that 9-year leap is it's a bigger leap than they probably need, and gaming hasn't leaped that much in the last 9 years.
Well, interesting. It depends.
Except for like well, I guess it's my opinion, obviously, but
Yeah.
I feel like there's more bloat allowed and ray tracing, like bells and whistles.
See, I agree with you.
But base games,
yeah.
like design, like textures and stuff, haven't blown up that much in the last 9 years compared to.
The last 5 years, game developers have found a lot of ways to blow CPU cycles,
Yeah.
GPU cycles. And in my opinion, and Steve's opinion, it sounds like it doesn't actually show up on the screen.
It just
With-
maybe
well, I would
make my
think-
computer burn out.
But
Yeah.
I think with one exception being what we just saw in Mario Kart of additional sprites and stuff.
Well, yeah.
Like I would
so
assume that chip upgrade is going to help that.
it will,
which changes play.
larger worlds and more interactions happening at once for sure. And so basically the estimations right now is that the Switch 2 is going to perform on par to a PlayStation 4 base model.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
That portable is pretty amazing.
Yeah, because most of
The portable side of it will, or both. It doesn't matter.
Both.
But the system itself, like regardless of our outputs, like it will perform like a PlayStation 4, which PlayStation 5 is just PlayStation 4 with HDR 4K output, basically.
Oh, with
It's
a much stronger
it's a little-
GPU
yeah,
to enable
it's
that.
stronger, but stronger because it came out later.
Yeah.
It's not like
But to your point,
Yeah.
you could play the PS4 version of FIFA now on the go.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Not
Something
pop-
with that
which
fidelity.
people are still playing. Not the. This was an interesting console leap because a lot of PS4 players didn't jump
Yeah.
up to PS5.
Because
Like, that's the first time in a long time that's happened.
because it was, and like I am
Not enough
yeah,
of a jump.
Yeah, like like
Diminishing
exactly.
returns.
See, the
Yeah.
basic consumer.
Yeah, I'm underselling it a bit just because I'm one of those salty gamers. I was like, I can't afford a PS5 because it didn't do enough
Yeah.
to justify paying for a PS5 when I have PS4 and a computer.
But I had also never seen them market that way before, where it's like dual releases for AAA games, dual releases,
Yeah, dual
because they
releases.
knew that.
To this very day, like we are like 3 years into the PS5's life cycle, and they're still releasing on both.
Yeah.
And like the last I checked, the list of true exclusives on the PS5 is like 18.
So what's
And that's going to 17 this next week. As Spider-Man 2 is coming out on PC, which was the only reason I would have bought a PlayStation 5, and now I don't even have to do that. So,
That's
yeah.
interesting. So the big thing, I think the next generation will have to do something that isn't graphics and computing power. Like I think we've hit that point.
Yeah.
And I think economically we've hit that point when the PS4 guys didn't automatically become PS5 guys.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that was you didn't see it in the end product, right? A PS4 game, a really good looking PS4 game looks great.
You physically couldn't see it.
Right. And like you'd have to get turbo nerd about it and count the pixels, and you'd be like, oh, yeah, well, that's going better. And like the frame rate's a little higher. But the thing is, all right, so 4K sucks. I'm going to put that out there.
All right, go ahead. Why?
So 4K is a waste of resources. It is literally 4 times the pixels of a 1080p display. You get a lot of that fidelity if you just merely bump up to a 1440p. You can see the difference between that and 1080p pretty clearly. But if you jump from 1440p to a 4K, like you can't tell.
Yeah, and also if you
display point of view.
From a display point of view and output, but just thinking about how much more work, it's double the GPU work to put out a 1440p above a 1440p.
And like you could sit like a foot farther back from your TV and get the same real world fidelity increase than going from 1440 to 4K.
Because I've never designed
You're not
a
gonna notice the
game,
difference.
though, I don't know if there's, when you're actually doing construction on, actually, we're going to talk about this, on cinematics, we have a huge benefit, us, by shooting in a higher resolution, because it gives us room to work with without diminishing quality in the visuals, because we're assuming you're going to watch it in HD. So when I shoot in 6K at this point, it's because I need latitude to zoom. I guess you
can
don't
zoom in and not lose, and just because you're right, and that makes a
But
ton
I
of
don't
sense.
know if you need that in a digital world.
Depending on how you're doing it, no.
Well, and it's a problem when you're a GPU that's outputting every frame and every pixel has to be rendered.
Yeah.
It's so much more work. It's so much more work.
Yeah, that's why I like the new NVIDIA GPUs, if I understand correctly, are doing a lot of work of like AI generated, like what the next frame might be to take the load off of the GPU. And they're just like, we're just going to figure out what the main brute force processing. Just like, we know it will probably be here when you turn your camera 20 degrees. So we'll start it now in this process and then render it later. Like,
Yeah, I suppose maybe the next generation of consoles will just be things that have little enhancements for the developers, not so much for us, the end users, in which, we want to entice you to build on our platform. And that's why you have to buy our console, because the developers are only developing for that level.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be, you need a Ben Affleck's paycheck monitor in order to go any further.
I don't know. I think they might be able to get one more generation out like that, because there are people who are really into counting, like, just want the next biggest thing. Even if they can't tell the difference, they're like, well, this is better. It costs more. It's newer. I want it. And like that goes to a certain degree, but I do agree, like, you can't keep doing that.
What are the economics on the PS5 versus the PS4? Do either of you know?
They weren't making money
We
on
Google
it until, if they are, it's very recently, I think, compared, because I read something like a year or so ago that was like PS5 is not profitable.
Yeah.
Like within the same time period, PS4 became profitable for them.
Oh, look, it's
To
pulled
build.
ahead.
And
It outsold by 0.4 million.
PS5 have
That's-
sold.
which is not.
Oh, wait, but that's current.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, the PS4 sold
Well, that's like
23.04,
No. Yeah.
or is that in the last 50 months?
That's last 12 months.
Wait,
Hit that
Yeah.
that first drop down there.
VG charts.
Yeah, because see what the lifetime is, because that's
What sold more? That
they
one.
mix two stats together.
There we go.
There. Okay.
PS4 sold 117.18 million today. PS5 57.
A little bit less than half of that. Though.
No, it's 57
Oh, behind.
behind.
Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
That's what's going to determine everything, is when that starts going down.
Well, and even more than that, how many software pieces they're selling. Like, they don't care how many units they sell as long as they're selling tons of software. That's where the most of the money comes.
Mhm.
They don't make money selling the hardware. In fact, they usually lose money selling
Yeah.
the hardware.
PS4 is what, 8 years older than the PS5?
Yeah, I forget. It came out before Switch or after Switch?
It came out before Switch.
Okay.
It came out before I bought my house.
All right, so it's like
But it was
at
like
least
9,
8
10 years.
Yeah.
Because you had to buy a PS4 before you could buy
No. I just know I had a PS4 at my old apartment.
Oh, okay.
And then I moved into the house with the PS4, so I had it before I bought it.
Yeah, so and then they're more and more expensive, and they just, unveiled a couple months ago the PS5 Pro, and to a thump.
This is where you're losing, and that's where everybody's losing me.
Yeah.
Is these Pro models.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people respond to an upgraded model of the same thing.
I think the perception.
But I don't know. I'd have to look.
Yeah, the perceptions they had before, because I think PS3, was that the first one that had a Pro? Or was it
No,
4?
the PS4 Pro was the first one.
But
PS3
that
had
generation,
Slim.
they each had a Pro.
I thought the Xbox.
three didn't
one
have
of the Xboxes
No,
had an upgraded
I'm saying the generation of the 4. I thought the PS had a Pro, and then Xbox. I thought they also did a
Yeah, there. So it was
upgrade of
Isn't
hardware,
there like an Xbox One
the Xbox.
1.1 or something.
Pro or something?
Yes, there was the.
I think it's not called
What did
Pro,
they
but
call
yeah,
it?
it's incremental upgrade, hardware
Yeah.
upgrade.
Can we see what Xbox Ones are there?
It felt like they were ubiquitous by the time the PS5 Pro came out. That's why, to me, I was just like, oh, another one of these upgrades.
Yeah.
But, or maybe I was hearkening back to the expansion pack for the 3D,
The Xbox
and,
One
and the
S.
Sega CD, 3DS.
The S wasn't an like upgrade.
It was
Xbox One X.
X.
yeah,
Oh,
X.
it's the worst.
Mega Man
name.
X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Xbox One
Back
X
on brand.
was the Pro version of the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
Their naming is even worse than
boring.
Nintendo's. Because then, okay, what's better than the Xbox One X? Well, the Xbox Series. The Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. That's the next generation after that.
the current generation.
I don't
right?
like it.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
It's
I'm out.
even people who are geek out about this, like us.
Yeah.
I can't keep track.
Dylan, can you just look up the difference between PS5 and PS5 Pro? Because I don't know what they are actually.
Oh,
Like, I definitely didn't internalize
It's
it.
got a faster GPU.
Just faster GPU.
Yeah. That's basically it.
Where
Are we at the point where it's just marketing, or are there actual technological upgrades that
But
we
that's
care
what I
about?
was going to say, because like with a faster GPU, devs are already optimizing it games for PS5 with the slower GPU. So a faster one just means they can have an unoptimized mode or something,
Faster memory, 45% faster rendering.
or
So
just they
that's-
can make sloppier games because people will play it on PS5.
Well, and here's the thing, like it's again diminishing returns because you're like, all right, it's got 67% more compute units. So that means they could go from native 1440p to native 4K.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, native as opposed to upscaling. The
exactly. Now they're not going to because they want to put in the bells and whistles and they want to put in the ray tracing, and that drops your frame rate like crazy. So then they have to use the upscaling. So
So they just made a hardware upgrade you got to pay more money for in a new device in order for developers to be lazy with upscaling.
But here's the
And
thing.
make it look shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I think of it in terms of being a playback device for advanced graphics, that is a thing where like you have to boost up your machines for us to like play back After Effects files and things, animations and whatnot. So I guess the machine is doing that of, where we would have to get, I mean, you have to like tether like 2 or 3 graphics cards to really play back full, motion graphics and whatnot.
In real time.
So I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
If I think of it that way, that's what it's allowing you to do, which prevents slowdown. But they've gotten to it,
Yeah.
I suppose.
As a gamer, it's like in the end, like it's not like there's going to be exclusive games on the PS5 Pro for the PS5 Pro.
Yeah,
You can play all of them on the PS5.
Yeah, like to me, what would make more sense to be something that's gamer-philic and also makes them money is have a GPU add-on that you connect through. Okay, I think USB-C is fast enough for them to do that and actually use the upgraded
like
graphics.
Thunderbolt 4.
Yeah, or Thunderbolt. Yeah, sell a device for $150. You plug it into your existing PS5. You get ray tracing and
Are
shit.
you trying to Sega CD this thing?
Yes, say a CD or an expansion packet. Like if I had a PS5 and wanted the PS5 Pro, I'm not going to go drop my $600 PS5 to get a $650 PS5 Pro.
I get it.
I would get a $150, $200 box in order to play Sonic CD. Yeah, I would do that. I wouldn't do what they wanted people to do, which is part of why I fell flat.
But here's the thing, like in PC gaming, you get to change all the settings, decide what you prioritize, and you're like, all right, I want my frame rate to be here and the visuals there. I want this to be shiny and that not to be shiny. So
you do. I push start and go to the right.
yes.
Or
And
I
I
get
feel like that's
frustrated.
most people. And a lot of people who are like grown PC gamers, like that's kind of what you're into finding. And a lot of console games let you do that stuff now because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But I will say we're at the point where I don't care.
Wow.
Because all right,
Nobody-
so I recently got
It looks good.
Indiana
so it doesn't
Jones
matter.
and the Great
Great
Circle.
yeah.
Amazing game. Beautiful game. I love that it's all about Indiana Jones exploring environments and finding clues and it's wonderful. It's also the first game that requires a ray tracing graphics card on a PC to play. You need it. It's either I think it's a RTX 2060
And
or above. Anything below that ain't gonna work.
And just to let you know, 2060 is barely going to cut it because that's what I had in my old laptop, and I play any game from last year was hell.
But then I was like, all right, cool. So I can play this. I just bought a new graphics card. I'm like, all right, I got the spoiled boy like all set up, and I'm playing it, and I'm turning the bells and whistles on and off, and I'm like, I can't really tell. The only thing this does is drop the frame rate. I'm gonna turn it off because I want the frame rate to be higher.
Yeah, like you look at the Digital Foundry video, and they're just like, here's side by side what you get, and what you get is slightly like you see 1 pixel instead of no pixels, but you lose 10 frames per second.
Which is, you don't want that.
Yeah, and I'm going through, and then they had an update. It's like, oh, now we have full path ray tracing you can turn on. It's not just normal ray tracing; it's full path ray tracing. So every beam of light is being
Yeah,
calculated.
so you're playing with God rays that cast realistic shadows at 20 frames per second in the first person game, which sucks.
Well,
Yeah.
right. And so I turned it on. I'm like, I'm really curious to see. And it looked grainier to me. And the light didn't really look more realistic. And I was like, but my frame rate halved. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, like
It's not even not worth it. It's not.
yeah. I have to
Why?
actually. I have to look up the.
It looks worse and it plays worse.
We broke Chris.
I have to look up the Digital Foundry video on it because it could be.
Well, they were very positive
Oh,
about
so you already
full
checked it
path.
out?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering if turning on full path ray tracing somehow disabled some anti-aliasing stuff, because some other games I was playing did that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what.
It's basically like, turn off stuff in the background that people might not notice, or they stop upscaling in order to do full ray tracing, but then you reduce it down from 4K to 1080p anyway.
Well, what's really interesting to me about this is now I'm looking at these as graphics machines. Now, if I look at them like that and that you have to have a superior graphics machine to play it back, the only way you're going to be able to experience that fidelity, that enjoyment, that higher picture is only if you're plugged directly into your monitor, and your monitor can also support
Yeah, exactly.
what it is you're doing. Meaning,
I guess that's
you cannot make a YouTube video that is going to look anywhere near as good as playing it in person because of compression.
Yeah.
It's not going to be possible. So essentially, video game developers are giving you an experience that you can't have online, that you can't have, that you can't see. I cannot see it on here because this does not have the ability from a display point of view or from a lack of compression and power point of view to do it. Which essentially, most people are playing this on shitty TV.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're not going to notice the difference, or
They're getting their Vizio from Target, and maybe it's a 4K Vizio, but like it's not good.
But the only way you'd be able to, I'm just realizing that's the only way you would be able to see it the way the developers intended. And is that worth it? I think not.
or you say,
it's like
why your face 6 inches away from the monitor.
We're not going to the movie theaters anymore. We're watching them here and here,
And I'm wondering, so you're saying you guys are capturing 6K video.
Mm-hmm.
Are you capturing this in 6K, by the way?
We could be.
Okay.
That one's a 6K camera. These are 4K. But we output in HD because the reason I just said.
Yeah, do you
YouTube
have a 6K display?
No, but we don't. We always conform to HD.
Yeah.
Because you can see a difference of downscaling from 4K to 1080 versus standard 1080 capture.
Does YouTube not have an option if you have a 4K display for viewing 4K YouTube videos?
They do, but
I don't have one, so I don't have the option, so I didn't know if I didn't see it because
nobody's uploading in 4K.
Okay.
And it's funny, you have to pay for their premium plan to unlock higher bit rate. So what happens is, even though it's in 4K, it's with a low bit rate, so it looks like shit.
Yeah, it's more about the bit rate now than it is about the resolution. And that's what you got to pay attention to, especially when you're acquiring movies and things. You want to look at the bit rate, not necessarily the resolution.
Yeah. So now on YouTube Premium, there is a higher bit rate option on, like, if you pay for it.
And it's
just 1080-60.
You can see.
I didn't realize that was premium because I have premium, so I didn't realize that was a premium option. The 1080-60,
and a couple channels do like Digital Foundry does 4K uploads, and you can see them because that's their bread and butter, right? They're all about the bleeding edge.
But it doesn't matter if you're watching it on this,
right? If you're watching on that, that
is a hard sell. Game
it's like this is not
game developers. You're selling fun, but hardware developers, that you're in a tough spot now.
You really are.
What are they though?
Yeah. Well, why should I buy it?
Well,
why should I?
What can't you do on what I already have?
Well, I put it this way. Well,
unless I'm playing in the Sphere.
Yeah. Well, let me say more how I'm thinking. No, I'm not going to get into this right now. Never mind.
Statues. No.
No. What I was going to say is like you're saying, like hardware developers are screwed because they don't have many viable ways or tangible ways to improve fidelity without other things changing.
I suppose what I'm saying is what worked for the last 20 years is probably not going to work.
Well, yeah. What I am thinking and want to say is they should stop doing it and focus on the quality of the software and the quality of optimizing it. They're not going to because that's how you make money. It's a large segment of money made from hardware.
But also, I think this is great for Nintendo because Nintendo is that rare breed that loves their games, loves their hardware, does it all themselves in their own quirky way. Whereas, if you're Sony and, the Sony game library is like, they have preferred vendors, right? Their first party is not actually Sony, the company, from what I understand. And if let's say they're just developing hardware, then they're going to kind of get screwed in that, how do I sell this new hardware if you can buy the games on the old one?
Yeah.
Because
that's what happened with the PS5 right now. Like you can, it's like, well, they won't look as pretty. It's like, okay, looks good to me.
Yeah. And that's why I changed enough for the PS5 to be like, oh, you can't play your PS4 digital games, some of them on PS5. You gotta get a PS5 upgrade. Some people charge for the upgrade, some people get free upgrades. But you got to do an upgrade to play the digital game on PS5.
I think you nailed it earlier though, of like being able to play FIFA in the car is essentially Nintendo pulling a Tesla. The cars have been around forever. Let's change this and focus on the handheld thing. And now this is like a new type of vehicle.
Recontextualizing what they already had. Which and that's different. And I think that is more exciting. You have to focus on the games. And I think Nintendo is also special in that they have a variety of teams working on variety scale games.
Yeah.
It's not all like, hey, this is my AAA. Like Nintendo will have we have our big AAA, like 2 titles a year, maybe. But then they have a ton of, I don't know what you would call them, single A, double A games coming out. They'll be like, hey, here's Mario RPG. And like, it's one of our B teams working on it. It's a really great, really fun game. But like, there's a lot of stuff. They have a breadth. And I think that's one of the problems with Microsoft and Sony right now is that Sony itself has published very few games, and they
Something's going on with them
they take
right now, right?
forever to make because they go for this higher fidelity.
And
They're expensive.
Yeah, partially is that, and partially they use other first or second party developers and they use them to help each other make games. So they'll often be like, oh, well, you work on this person, make Horizon 2. When Horizon 2 is done, you will help these people make Spider-Man. Like, people have been making Wolverine with Insomniac for like 5 years now because they were like, we're making Spider-Man 2. And then they got to work on Wolverine. Other people working on Wolverine had to stop to go work on their games.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the leak happened, the latest leak happened of Wolverine, they're like, oh, now we're going to scrap everything and start over.
Well, did you?
So they have to
wow.
wait until those teams get freed up to help Insomniac make Wolverine.
But I've also, well, actually, you can stay on topic. Go ahead.
Well, speaking of leaks too, like with Sony, recently it was unveiled that Concord, the whole
This is what I was
debacle,
gonna talk about. Yes.
it shook them to the core. And a lot of leaks have come out that they were actually planning on they were working on 12 live service games at the same time.
Yeah.
12 live service games at the same time. They're just like doubling down on that. And then Concord flopped. And then they're like, oh, so they were going to do a God of War live service game.
Oh, yeah.
They canceled
So
that.
I heard that was canceled, and I did not get what it was. I didn't hear about
No
the
one
leak.
knows. What does that
Okay.
mean?
I
Why
heard
would you
all
do
of
that?
this from Arlo, by the way. So
Yes.
Arlo on YouTube.
Like, the only thing I do know about this is none of those games were Destiny. They weren't doing anything with that, unfortunately, to his detriment.
And they which is a live
maybe not
service
to his
game.
detriment if all the other live service games are dying. But they took people from Bungie to work on some of those games.
Right. And they have something that works. And like, they're trying to like, oh, well, lightning struck over there. So let's just make a whole bunch of lightning rods and we'll just get lightning all the time. And then
And then the sky cleared up.
right, the sky cleared up. It's like, well, this was a really expensive rod. Check out how cool our rod is. No one's playing. I still can't believe they shut down Concord after 2 weeks. Still can't believe it.
Everyone was going to play Fall Guys. Or like, what's the imposter game?
You mean Among Us.
Yeah.
Doesn't that shake you to the core if you're a AAA developer and
It tells
like it's this you're a PS5 Pro in a PS4 world.
If you're a big company like that, why aren't you diversifying?
Yeah.
Like your portfolio. It's not just like, hey, live service games work. Make them. We did
What
a
is
similar
live
thing.
service, by the way?
Games that are continuously updated, they often have like season passes or battle passes.
And typically, you are playing them online with other people, and the
They're
meta
online games.
changes.
I guess World of Warcraft was the first big one.
Yeah, and like I would
Like mainstream big
So
one.
that was an
mainstream,
MMORPG.
'cause like RuneScape was before that.
Arguably, that's a live service game, but it's a very specific. There was a point when everyone was doing their own MMO, and like
Yeah, Final Fantasy has 2 MMOs.
and
15 and 16, and people are like,
one's still going.
what was
like,
that?
Well, actually, one of the big things that differentiate MMOs from live services, MMOs are like, oh, you have expansions every now and then.
Yeah.
Live services, like every couple weeks you have new stuff. Every month you have new stuff.
And sometimes they hit, but apparently they're very expensive to develop.
Loot boxes.
Yeah,
Like loot boxes even kind of fallen out of favor. Now they just straight up spend $20 for a skin.
Yeah. Well, I guess
That you can't earn in
I
game.
guess Fortnite did that.
Like, yeah, for like help popularize it. Then
well, it's more about the thing. I don't even understand battle passes. It's this. You gotta. I
Like,
don't understand it. They're like, buy this battle pass. I'm like, why?
like I like battle passes on principle. That you have to buy one is what turns them off to me. Because before it was just like progression tracks in certain games are like. Again, I'm mostly focused on Destiny 2 because that's what I play. Theirs is like they have a free one where you earn like cosmetics and like in-game like weapons and stuff. If you pay for the seasonal content, you get a story and extra activities and also some more stuff.
This is definitely Tubby Talk, old man yells at cloud.
Well, yeah. And they have like,
I want to have fun.
Yeah.
Just make a fun video game.
So like Helldivers 2 and Marvel Rivals, we've been trying to play both of those recently.
Uh-huh.
Those have battle passes, which are the new fad, where you have a list of things you get if you pay.
New like 10 years ago, yes.
And well, no, like the specific, like you get some things that are free, some things that are paid, but you have to buy the free. You have to spend resources on free stuff.
Yeah.
Just to advertise more paid stuff you can buy. Like Marvel Rivals has whole cutscenes for the outfit on the next page of the battle pass.
And those cutscenes would look a lot better on upgraded hardware. That is the one thing that I took away from this is actually graphically playing back will look better on these upgraded machines. So cutscenes.
Well, possibly because
cutscenes is why you need more power.
Well, possibly because Marvel Rivals is like a 30 frames per second cutscene rate, like a forced one, like the skipping frame style of animation.
Well, I think
so. I think so. You don't get the smoothest. It might have the visual fidelity, but it's like choppy on.
To be fair, they're making it adaptive.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people making this are adaptive.
Okay,
Like when
possibly. I
they
haven't
came
checked
out
that
with
out.
the, like if you ever play one of like the cloud versions on
Yeah,
Switch
the streaming,
of
like
a,
MLB The
like
Show,
a Red
yeah.
Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's way down there, but you could still play it and have an experience. But if you want the true version, you need the upgraded hardware.
Yeah, but like also
And I personally love
Yeah.
cutscenes.
like
Always have.
this kind of helps segue into it.
Yeah.
Like the Marvel Rivals, like the advertisements, which is straight up what they are, that we were seeing. Like it wasn't like necessarily limited because Chris still had the same. It was a visual style as opposed to not able. Machine wasn't able to put out the frame rate.
Yeah.
Or display when they put it out. Destiny, when they have in-game cutscenes, they drop it to 30 frames per second, regardless of what your FPS is.
Mhm.
It's still in-game graphics, in-game cutscene, but
But I
they
also
drop it down to 30 because they're trying to normalize it.
I mean, they should drop it down to 24 if they want it to look like a film. Like cinema.
yeah, they don't want it to look better. They want it to be cheaper. And
that's interesting.
And work on PS4 and PS5
But a lot of us do
Yeah,
not
PC.
enjoy watching cinematics in
in
anything
30 frames
above
per second.
anything above 30, I would say.
I mean, I do, but that's because I am tired of 30 frames per second because I've been limited to it with so many underpowered displays and devices I've had. I've always been usually I'm a step behind the latest and greatest of whatever, especially with display technology.
And
Like
you get
I still have a 4K.
We're getting into a Peter Jackson area now. It's like, well, I want The Hobbit at 48 frames per second, right?
He was wrong.
Yeah.
He was wrong.
Okay, yeah,
And
I
he
agree.
goes on record saying,
Yeah,
Oh, he does.
I
Yeah.
still feel like he did that out of spite. I just watched a documentary on the making of both those movies. I think he did that out of spite
well,
because he was forced to make The Hobbit.
but here's the thing. Just capturing it in 48 and then playing it back in 24 would have looked beautiful
Yeah.
if you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But one of those was a GoPro. There was definitely an actual GoPro inside the barrel.
Yep.
The Hobbit talk.
But yeah. So speaking of cutscenes, you can have beautiful cutscenes in video games.
Mhm.
You can have informative cutscenes that are fun to, or cutscenes that are fun to watch. You can also have cutscenes that interrupt your ability to play the game,
Yeah.
especially if they're good quality. Like that's why I've never played the Final Fantasies like on the PlayStation like era, a higher PlayStation era, like 2, 3, 4. Like, oh, I gotta sit here. No, Metal Gear Solids. Sorry, that's what I'm thinking of.
Mhm.
I gotta watch an hour unskippable cutscene before I get to the next bit of gameplay. I'm not gonna play this game at all. It sounds boring.
Yeah, and
But
it's funny. I haven't had much interaction with that. In that, I just never gravitated towards the machines that did that. But I also think there is a nostalgic beauty to classic cutscenes from like the PlayStation era, where they knew
the ones that were definitely downscaled.
Final Fantasy VII is the one that comes to mind,
Yeah.
where there were 3 different cloud character models,
Yeah.
depending on what it was, and they did cinematics with them. And
Gotcha.
yeah,
'cause I'm
when you
thinking
go
like
all in
Tekken.
on it being a cartoon, you can enjoy it. It was where the
Okay. I
Uncanny
get
Valley
you now.
killed a lot of could have been great cutscenes. Well, also gave us some of the best cutscenes ever, like that Kazuya throwing Ayachi off of the cliff,
That had to be like 120p.
and then
120
looking over with the awkward smile.
120i. That was terrible.
Yeah.
You know what, Dylan? Can you pull that up?
It was so pixelated.
It's going to be original Tekken ending.
Tekken Kazuya ending specifically.
These they have a charm to them now, and part of it's just like now nostalgia.
Then I was like,
That's
"Ugh,
it.
This looks so gross." I think that's
You thought this looked gross at the time?
no. This is an HD remastered version.
No,
No, it is
This
not.
is what it looked like on
This it was upscaled to HD. for this
Arcade.
video.
No,
It
this-
says- it says on the title. it
Fine,
says
but look
HD.
at how flat the planes are. Look at those feet.
Yeah, this is legible. It was
That's
so
an actual still image that they just
Yeah.
put behind it.
yeah. It was so pixelated in the arcade and on the PlayStation 1.
Cinema.
Like there was dithering. There was dithering all over the place in the original one. It was so
That
dithered.
that is beauty. That is what I'm talking
This was
about.
smoothed out for YouTube replay. Even since AC at the top, it was so
Now, this
dithered.
was-
Everything was dithered back then, and that's why I hated cutscenes for the longest.
well,
time.
especially for consoles. Like the arcade probably had a little bit less of that going on, but yeah,
It looked like you were watching through a screen.
because they had to make it
A
fit on
screen.
a
I hated it.
CD-ROM. It had 600 megabytes to
But
play with.
also recognize that is way better than the actual game looks.
Way
See, that was
better.
the thing about PlayStation
Game
that
was dithered, though.
N64
The
didn't
game was-
have.
Yeah.
All of N64's cutscenes were within the original character models, whereas PlayStation went and had full CGI renderings on
Full
this.
motion video.
Yeah.
I'm using dithering, right? Yeah, the cutscenes were very dithered on PlayStation 1 a lot
Yeah.
compared to especially compared to the in-game graphics.
But a lot of the times, like that would come up, you'd be like, "Oh man, CG!" Like the game can't, the system can't output that sort of fidelity.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. It was always a treat. Like, look at this. There's a point.
Like,
That was something that was novel, right? Seeing things that looked like that.
But also,
it was never novel to me. I always hated it because I wanted it to be I wanted the game to look like the fidelity of the cutscene, but also the cutscene to have better image.
It was a lie.
quality.
You're saying.
Yeah, it was lies both ways. Yeah,
Yeah, we are there.
we're there now, and I love it now, except for when you can't skip the cutscene.
But it's funny. This is like a whole history lesson here. I mean, cutscenes were legendarily terrible, but it wasn't just CGI. There's two that I think we should look at. One being live action Resident Evil 1 cutscenes.
Yeah.
And there were also full anime cutscenes, which I think were the best choice on the PlayStation era. I was just doing anime.
I mean, yeah. I think that's the one thing that made me jealous of
Bingo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's two. Uncensored Resident Evil
there you
opening.
go.
This one.
Yeah.
I
uncensored.
think we've watched this before, but
I was watching a documentary about this movie we made too, and the one actor, I'll point out which one it is. He talks about it fondly. The rest of them are like, it freaking sucked. This entire shoot sucked. It was terrible. We're hot. We being bit by mosquitoes. And the young guys, like, I love it. It was great. I didn't know it was a video game until last year. Like he thought it was just for like a commercial or something. He never knew it was in a. He didn't play games.
Yeah.
yeah, but like cutscenes have come an amazing way. The CGI one, they were trying it all the way back then, but sometimes we got these weird treats as well. What the heck do you think this even is? Flash player?
What they're well, I mean, this is video.
It is,
Yeah,
but
what's
what's it being compressed through?
From?
Oh,
Because it was before QuickTime. Well, they wasn't using QuickTime for some.
no, it was
There you go.
Wish I could remember. They in the documentary I was watching. They said
FMV?
what software they were using. I can't remember it now.
MPEG 2. It is old. It's before we were doing videos on computers, really.
Premiere or whatever. Yeah.
Like before, like that was a thing on the internet. This is like
Holy
Wesker and Jill all the way over there for some reason.
it's funny how like the
Jill
And
characters,
then even more, yeah, that guy. He's like, I didn't know it was a video game until last year.
the other like Jill and Wesker look still like that, like to this day. Like
Yeah.
the character, they modeled them after these actors. I'm guessing.
They shot this after they started making the game.
Yeah, but the game itself was polygons.
Yeah, but I mean, like they already had the character designed for them, so they knew what they were.
Oh, that's a great idea. So now, Dylan, just pull up Resident Evil 1 gameplay. Because it cut between
Yeah, like this one was not dithered. This one looks like an actual video, like a video CD.
Yeah.
Back when those things existed. That's also why was it Resident Evil 2 discs? Probably because one of the discs had
There you
this
go.
is half
Just
of
click
the
anywhere in the middle. Oh yeah.
Every time you open a door, there's a loading screen.
Yes, this is what it was mixed between. This beautiful imagery and those
such
full.
a lie.
You going up the stairs had its own
Well, here you go.
animation.
Here's a cutscene I hate.
Loading cutscene.
Unskippable
Unskippable and
because it's high.
nostalgia. I like it, but it also like give you extra time to be scared.
Well,
Yeah.
that was the point though. They added them for an extra time to be scared, so you would feel the tension.
Was it or was it a hardware
It was-
limitation?
It was both. It was both. They did it on purpose. Romero was supposed to direct the first Resident Evil movie.
No.
And he was going. So that's what the documentary was about. And he was going to use that in the movie to good effect too. Like whenever they open the door, have like basically a door opening cutscene, like equivalent to heighten the tension. But for the game, yeah, it was partially on purpose to scare, partially to cover loading.
And then
So it best of both worlds. Like it's very efficient use.
and then the other one, Dylan, give me Mega Man X4 cutscene.
Wait, you thinking X4? Or you thinking of the Maverick Hunter?
I'm thinking of what are we fighting for?
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's Maverick Hunter X.
No.
No.
It is four?
It's-
Okay.
Like the Mega Man. There you go.
I don't remember what format they were, but you could watch
All
all
anime
these clips.
cutscenes.
If you put this
Yeah, that's
in a computer, they just show up in a file browser. And you just watch them all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that's what I did. As soon as I got it, I put it on my computer, and I was like, oh, the cutscenes are cool.
See, to me, I think this was a little closer to the kind of art styles we were using in the PlayStation era.
Yeah, and I mean, you knew that this was drawings, this is animation.
Yeah.
But like, it fits. This is like you dreamed of as a kid. Like, oh, what if my games could look like this? And,
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
it's
right, here you go.
With the Chrono Trigger place.
Yeah, that's
coming
coming
up
up
They
next.
added
one,
the
yeah.
anime cutscenes.
I was somewhat jealous of that.
I wasn't somewhat. I was straight up jealous of that.
Well, that's because you swore off Sony because they broke off business.
We still have nothing Sony owned in the studio.
Really?
Still just have.
Wait, so you know about these cutscenes and you covet these cutscenes, but you've never actually played the game that these cutscenes.
No. I did. I played it on the GameCube.
Oh, the game.
Yeah, when it was ported to an Nintendo.
The port was
Now you
amazing.
can get it on Switch. The Mega Man X Collection, 1 and 2, sold by Capcom. Don't play the second part past Mega Man 6 because 7 and 8 are harsh.
Yeah, they're kind of rough.
And
anyway,
X is kind of rough,
X-
but 7 and 8 are real bad.
You mean X or normal?
X?
Okay, yeah.
7 and 8 are real bad.
Now on the on the Nintendo side, what I was working with, what's a cutscene from there that we can watch? Look up Mario 64. No. Look up Link meets Zelda: Ocarina of Time. That's a much better example of a true cutscene.
Yeah.
Look at Sigma.
Yeah.
They never kissed.
Sigma and X? That happened before Mega Man.
So on the Nintendo side, because they were on cartridges, I guess. I don't know why. Why didn't they
Well,
have...
yeah, because they didn't have the space to hold full motion video because it ate like in those games that had it ate half the disc.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you had to just store a file with the in-game cutscenes. You can.
So what all Nintendo
Just
did
fix the
for their
camera.
cutscenes is, boom, they switched it into anamorphic.
Yeah, and then you just switch the cameras and remove control. They just added bars. Does it actually make it anamorphic if you just shoot it in 4:3 and add bar? Yeah, no.
No, but
they added bar. They didn't make it anamorphic.
In the digital world, they can do whatever they
Yeah,
want.
they
'Cause
can
there's
do
no lens.
Right.
Like if it's truly anamorphic, then there would be nothing rendered in the bars, right? It would. But
That's
now they're
true.
just rendering
True.
black as opposed to nothing.
Yeah. So they're cropping it in. But regardless, here's my question. Don't you think this is an experience that more... what am I trying to say? Don't you think that this seems like a seamless experience because we didn't go into some weird cutscene? We didn't change the animation style? We didn't go to odd CGI?
Yeah.
And do you think they were thinking of that?
See, I think they still do it, right? So I guess the answer is like they were thinking of that. Nintendo was thinking of that for sure.
Like,
and
this
I
is
agree.
how
Like this is
they
less
do
jar.
all this
The
other-
thing is, a lot of people are like, I don't want to read.
Yeah.
What is this? Like a lot of people like
But we're
only
still
want-
reading.
only want voice acting. Oh, well, that's the thing.
Although
a lot of games have
had good voice acting.
tons of voice act. Well, Tears of the Kingdom also has lots of reading without, like, it has voice acting for some of the cutscenes, but most of it is done in text.
Like Nintendo.
best-
You're going to have fun, but you're going to read.
Yeah.
You're going to learn to read.
Whereas a lot of RPGs that come out now have every dialogue is spoken, every bit of it.
Yeah, but like
In multiple languages, too.
yeah, but like a lot of that is for immersion, less so. Well, I would hope it's for immersion, less so than people don't read. I don't think they have data that says people don't read
It's less about
because you have
people
to read
but
other stuff. But
people
yeah,
prefer it.
Yeah.
We actually
because
just
more immersive.
transitioned into a cutscene where we have kind of left the world we were in.
Yeah.
Although,
But
I
it's textured the same.
Yeah.
It's the same.
yeah, like I
Graphical
wonder just from a
interpretation.
technical point of view if they just were like, oh, there's a section of Hyrule off the map or under the map where this exists, and they cut to it, like they pan
Oh, that's
the camera to it versus
Well,
unloading things and loading
the
this.
power of the cartridge on the N64 means they could load things very quickly. So, like, they probably didn't have to hide too much.
Like they could have just unloaded the main world, loaded this, and then unload this and unload the main world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's also very little going on here. This is basically a skybox and like 5 polygons.
Also, very clever to use things that are simple shapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen games like this that people are broken, and you see where in the world, if you could just click through the map, where the cutscene stuff happens, which is always cool. Like,
That is fun.
oh yeah, they shoved it under the map or in this corner or upside down. One time I saw it, just came down from the bottom of the map.
And then, Dylan, can I see a Final Fantasy VII cutscene?
But like, yeah, so like with
PS1.
like at least the ones I enjoy.
Oh, there.
Yeah,
Type
that's
PS1 because
first
that's
one.
the first one's the first one's PS1.
it said PS4 though.
It might have been the PS1 game running on the PS4.
Is it on? Oh, did you like digital or something?
There you go. Okay, so this is,
Yeah, this is the.
but
the
this works
dithery
for the
style
character models.
Scene I was complaining about.
Yeah, and this
It's not
was
super dithered, but it's not
at the time like this was like visually arresting.
Oh God,
the
yeah.
pixels to make it cheaper.
Did
like,
we just die?
Take less space. No. Oh, we died. The viewer, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the camera died.
Like
The
this
camera
is
got-
even for like this was cinema CG at the time. Like this is amazing looking.
But yeah, as good as you want to get.
But also, like, this is a perfect example. The one before this was rendered a bit differently than that one because it's a different part of the game. And then this looks like it's even more polygonal. I just distinctly remember Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 had a lot of different types of ways of showing you the characters and the character models in the world.
Yeah.
And they were all at like different resolutions and different. It was clever, and it was kind of charming.
I mean, that's how CGI cartoons and stuff do it. Like they have models, and then they have different models for different levels of like either battleware or just like for different cutscenes.
But into the different, like when you're walking around controlling Cloud, he's this boxy pop polygonal guy, but when you see him in a cutscene, he's less so.
Yeah.
But it's always kind of done that in the Final Fantasy games. Like you think about walking around in the overworld, you got this like maybe 32 pixel high guy, and then if you open the stat menu, you see a portrait that's like an anime drawing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I guess that's what that guy looks like.
No, there's chocobos.
Yeah, I mean, it is. You're never going to get this again, right?
No.
And particularly, PlayStation had a particular like texture palette. I feel like those benches were PlayStation-esque benches. They just showed that little scene when chocobos ran by.
Here, Dylan, go back.
I've seen that wood in many PlayStation.
Back on YouTube.
I wonder, yeah, were these all made in house? I wonder, like by the end.
And then click the Aerith one down there.
They're made by in-house by Square.
Down one more.
They had the studio inside.
Yeah, that one.
Kind of Blizzard has a studio that made all the cutscenes for like Warcraft and Starcraft, but they weren't part of Blizzard. But they used one one team to make all their. Which why they all look the same until recently.
Yeah, so that Cloud and that Aeris or Aerith?
Eris.
Aeris. That Cloud and that Aeris and that Sephiroth. Oh, jeez.
Spoilers.
Look much, much different when you encounter them in the overworld.
Yes. And then they actually look different in the battle scenes as well. Like you're right. There's like 3 different styles.
Actually, is this spoilers?
Well, yeah. Until history's rewritten in the.
What do you mean? You talking about Rebirth? They changed this?
Yes.
Spoiler alert! Yes.
I haven't played it yet.
Neither have I.
I didn't play up to that point.
I know this.
I hadn't gotten that far, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah, that's all I know. Basically, is they changed this, and you don't leave the first place at the end of the first game like you do in the first disc.
Midgar.
Yeah, you don't leave Midgard at the end of this Rebirth. You leave it in the middle of the next one. I think.
I was retrograde. What's
I
it
forget
called?
what they're all called.
Retrograde was like the add-on to Rebirth. The second one was something else, and then it has Intergrade with Yuffie
Intergrade.
that just came out. That one's not. It's sometimes something else with the R. It's something else.
But just so everybody knows, like if you were there at the time, this was beautiful. This was gorgeous. And you can actually tell just by looking at it, that looks a lot more artistic than the Kazuya thing we started this segment with.
Yeah.
Okay, that actually does look like water. Until the camera panned down lower, it looked like you put it into a big thing of blue paint.
It looked like
It looked like it was solid.
the other one I want to ask for, give me Sonic Adventure cutscenes.
Adventure, they were rough as hell.
Yeah, they were.
Adventure 2 was much less rough, surprisingly, on the same system, like 2 years later.
But hopefully the viewers are kind of understanding that, there was extremely corny.
The third one.
Yeah, there you go. Extremely corny style. And then there was people doing it artistically and knowing what the limitations were. And then there was Nintendo's side, which is we're not even going to do it. We're just going to stay on what it looks like when it plays. That's what any cutscene will look like, which they had been doing for 2 generations prior anyway.
Yeah, but they still have a degree of like directorship, right? Like there's framing and plotting and like it's still a cutscene. It's just not full motion.
And then this happened. Oh, yeah. But I was legitimately jealous of voice acting. Like this stuff had voice acting. We had no voice acting in Nintendo
Yeah, not.
for a long time.
It's true. Oh, Star Fox 64, I guess, was one of the first big ones.
Oh, wow. You're right.
You're becoming more like your father.
Your father helped me like that too. Yeah.
This game was so bad.
Do you mind? Well, actually, it's funny. What's that guy's name? Chaos?
Chaos.
That's what I was going to say. It looked like the liquid that Cloud was putting.
Aerith
then.
into you. Wait, yeah. So is it Aerith in America and Aerith in Japan?
I don't
I've
know,
never seen
honestly.
Aerith before.
Aerith is the spelling in the PlayStation game. There's
Okay.
no S in the
Okay.
PlayStation game.
Then that's how.
But I think it is a big miscommunication. I think it is supposed to be an S.
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be an H. Yeah, Final Fantasy Wiki has it with an H. So
Ooh.
Okay.
Aerith Gainsborough was her last name.
Gainsborough.
It's real
Isn't that a
waspy.
town near us?
I'm going to have to. One day I'm going to play through Final Fantasy VII, the original. I
thought you
still haven't.
You played through.
I started and I never.
Play.
Oh, okay.
A let's of like a 100-hour game.
Yeah, eight
100
session
episodes.
Let's play.
Yeah.
Y'all have fun with that.
Yeah. Both of my viewers will be thrilled.
People would love it if you did a Let's Play of Final Fantasy. I wouldn't, but people would love it.
I'm doing a Let's Play Mario RPG right now.
I saw that. Yeah.
It's so fun. It's the best thing ever. Again, a game that did not originally have cutscenes. Well, I guess
It had
kind
like.
of did, but now it does. And
Right.
they add to the experience.
Yeah, they're like rendered out.
Shame it's only on a Switch.
That's interesting too because I believe they're pre-rendered in that game, the cutscenes, which is on Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, there's only a couple of pre-rendered. Like the initial one where he goes on the journey and there's that song.
Yeah.
And he jumps out. It's real quick. He goes out of his house and he jumps. That part is pre-rendered. But then a lot of it is told the Nintendo style of the sprites don't change.
Yeah.
But in the new one, they do. Anyway, what did you guys think about? So, where are you in regards to, cinemas and things like that?
Like the movies?
No, like
in video games.
Cinematics.
cinematics.
Again, just looking at this, I'm reminded how unskippable this is.
Yeah.
And you have to watch every time you play the game from the beginning. You got to watch all this BS. When they're well crafted, like when they have information to impart or entertainment to impart, sometimes both, preferably both, and they complement the gameplay. I love cinematics. When they are there to show off an auteur's viewpoint or something like I also just hate Metal Gear Solid games. So let me get it out the way. So that colors some of my ideas. But like I'm playing like Yakuza 8, I think it's 8 right now or 9. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. There's lots of cutscenes. I was complaining to Chris yesterday. I tried to play for an hour yesterday at work. It was all cutscenes for the whole hour.
The whole hour.
Now I was only upset because I wanted to do some character leveling while I was at work. If I was at home, I'm gonna sit down for a 2-hour session. I would watch a 2-hour cutscene, be fulfilled because there's lots of story and lots of things are happening in the game, and lots of character development. So it's like watching a TV show, but you play it sometimes. The difference is you know it's a cutscene because, like you said, it goes to like anamorphic. They use the same character models for everything, but it's rendered as if it's like a pre-rendered cutscene. Like it's sophisticatedly shot. So I can put my controller down usually and just watch.
I don't know, man. I think
But then they also have quick time events.
it's got
And they let you know when one's coming. So I'm like, okay, I got to pick this back up.
an episode of TV is like 22, 23 minutes long. You could put me in a video game and I can't play for over an hour.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's
Too
'cause-
much.
That's because you're playing the video game just to play the video game. I'm playing the video game for the experience of the video game. Like you wouldn't play this game because there's lots of cutscenes in it. You would know that going in because that's the hallmark of the series. It's
But like, it
basically
sounds
a playable movie.
Even this was irritating to you.
No, it irritated me yesterday because I wanted to play the game yesterday.
But now you're not irritated by it?
Wait, no. When most of my gameplay sessions, no, I embrace that. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
Yesterday I was in this because I could have skipped them and just played and leveled up my character.
But then you didn't know what happened.
Yeah, now I want to know what happened, so I want to watch it.
Right.
So it only annoyed me because I expected it to be a half an hour cutscene, and then I play for half an hour.
You know, knowing myself now, and just like how I consume media, the most media I consume is on YouTube. People doing like documentaries and breakdowns about video games and just other things of that nature. I think I would at this point now prefer games that are straight through, done Nintendo style, where if it breaks quickly and the character models don't change, and you don't give me anything longer than a 5-minute break in the action, but then give me an entire complimentary, the whole game as a cinematic that I can watch after.
Yeah, but that was so
that I can choose
like you
my
said-
experience.
yeah.
And then I need to find the Black Mastodon, have him do a breakdown of both of them, and explain it to me as just a guy on the internet who I love.
So let me ask you this: is that mostly from a time management point of view?
No, I
Or
think
is
it's
it
what
just
I
because-
enjoy.
Okay.
I literally think I now... Yeah, I think it's an enjoyment thing. I love... There's...
Like, because you could just cut out the middleman and play games that are straightforward gameplay games, and then watch gameplay cinematics or let's plays of cinematic games.
But I want it to be the same game. I want the cinema. I want it the same game. Like I want to watch Sonic Adventure, the cinematic, as well as play a working version of Sonic Adventure where you don't have to do the froggy part.
I think my favorite way to see cinematics, if it's integrated and beautiful, I'm fine with that. But my favorite way, the way it feels like candy to me, is like when fighting games do it. You have an ending, and your reward for beating the game with that character is to see that character's ending. And I think that's awesome. Like, he was like, oh, well, what's Zangief going to say at the end of this one? And my favorite, actually, and this is cheesy and edgelord back in the day, but Twisted Metal on the original ones.
Yeah, can we
you
do
would,
that?
Twisted Metal
characters. Some of them were sucked, but I want to see the
Well, you would see, like, what are they going to wish for? And how is that wish going to backfire?
It's a great point.
It was great. It was like everyone was like a piece of candy. It was like, oh man, I got to see a goofy comic book ending. Great. Now I want to play another character to see what their stupid story is. Because there's like, what are they going to do with this premise? The premise, like, how it applied to the characters was
do
interesting.
Twisted Metal 2 might work a little better for you than Twisted Metal 1.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Street Fighter ones, and also Tekken earlier. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Like that was like one reason I
There
play
you go,
fighting
the
games.
down one.
I want to get their endings. Street Fighter's been
Yeah, this is
unfulfilling
this
with
is
their
how it
endings
originally
recently,
was, right?
So everyone wanted to play them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's
What's this, JoJo? What the hell?
it's kind of like JoJo.
They all say I'm insane.
But
I'm not.
yeah, that's Roadkill, who's a homeless guy.
I know it's
And I forget what his wish was. Well, Calypso's, but he's asking Calypso. He just won. So anyone who wins Twisted Metal gets a wish from Calypso, who is a supernatural character, but they're all monkey's paw sort of wishes, right? So what's going to happen to poor old Roadkill down there? About to find out.
Oh, he has all the money in the world, but now he's sick or something?
I don't know.
Wait, is it a logical monkey's paw, or just we're gonna F you over monkey's paw? 'Cause this seems like an F you over monkey's paw. I don't know what he wished for though.
Yeah.
I remember in Twisted Metal 2, there was a character that was like a devil or a demon. And he said, all I want to do is go back to hell. And he says, fine, I'll send you to hell. And he ends up in hell, Minnesota.
Yeah. I was in there with all the other competitors.
So was he like, I want to be out of the game, I want to go back to normal life or something? And they're like, well, normal life is everybody's all in pain all the time, and you're messed up in the house.
And now he's happy with his family. Oh, but then Calypso's. Oh.
Damn.
Okay, well, that was actually a pretty good ending for him. He had reunited to his family.
Yeah.
Oh, only in his mind.
Axel.
Now, Axel,
His name is Axel.
I imagine
that's
his
Axel.
wish would be give me arms back. That'd probably be pretty good.
Apparently, Axel's dad put him in that thing.
Yeah, he would still wish for arms back.
No, I would say it just for the viewer. His father like built him into a car.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how they incorporate that into the second season of the TV show, because Axel's gonna be in it.
Oh.
And I want to know if they're gonna have his father build him into a car or just
They made a second season. They're making a second.
make him.
I'm surprised.
But so like they
Dude, did anybody watch that?
What was it on? A good number of people watched it for what it was on. It was on like Peacock or something.
Oh.
So it wasn't super wide, but it was like Peacock's like highest rated like
Oh, he rips out.
scripted series.
Give me my arms back.
But yeah, his dad's just like a mad scientist. It's like, I would have built my son into a car, which is messed up.
I feel like he didn't need a supernatural witch to get this one.
this day.
And he's like, yeah, this is so Image Comics.
Yeah, super 90s Image Comics.
I haven't seen any feet. The Layfield drawing?
Yeah. That's Grasshopper.
That's hilarious.
Oh, there's
So it's funny, you didn't play any of this, but you're aware of the Twisted Evil
I
stuff.
played a lot of PlayStation.
Okay.
Because everyone had a PlayStation, but I refused.
Yeah.
I could play it. I just couldn't buy it.
Okay. PlayStation adjacent.
Yeah. But I remember like doing a Final Fantasy VII fucking playthrough. Like it was like a double sleepover type night where like we went through the whole thing. And then because I wasn't very familiar with RPGs, I died without saving for like hours.
Oh no.
So I set us way back.
Dang.
So I felt like her.
Yes.
Who the cutscene artist are, because this really feels like actual image. Artist right there.
I'm trying to think of any other cuts. Well, actually, you know, it'd be great. Dylan, show me now. What are we on? Tekken 8?
I don't even know.
Show me
Yeah.
just Tekken 7 cutscene.
So basically what you want to do is play a video game and then watch it on YouTube. You can do that now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
now you kind of can.
what
You could find an actual, like, part. Because what I want to show is, yeah.
It's real time.
But it's also, it was much. This is an insane improvement
Oh, yeah.
since, like, what we started with and how corny this lore was. And now it's like, that looks good.
Yes.
There's actually a Tekken anime that's pretty good.
The proportions on that dude are hilarious. On all these
He
people.
looks like Jotaro.
Yeah, he does
That's
look
what
like
they call-
Jotaro.
looks like Jotaro.
Are we on Tekken 8?
We might be on
Can we
Tekken
see
8.
the Tekken 8 cut scene?
Might be, dude.
Either 8 or 9 just came out, like, in the last year.
Okay.
There's 8. All right.
This is a year ago, so it must be 8 just came out, yeah.
Purple smoke. Pretty cool.
Devil. Well, yeah, because Kazuya. Kazuma?
No, Kazuya. Kazuya is Hiyachi's son.
Well, that's Jin.
Yeah, and then Jin. And then they killed Hiyachi a couple games ago, and in this game, he comes back, according to the trailer.
Yeah.
He has no memory of who he is.
Oh, just like M. Bison in Street Fighter 6.
It was literally the same. It was literally the same. I'm like, did they know they were doing this in Tekken when they made Bison's backstory? Because Tekken 8 came out first.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is like that goofy stuff we saw back in the day has turned into this,
Yeah.
which is only powerful with a powerful enough machine to look at it. Because actually, the way we're looking at it through YouTube is compressed. If we actually had the actual system plugged into this TV, it would look better.
It would look better, yes. Now, what my question, though, is will the people playing this game now remember this quite as much as we remember the goofy ones from back in the day?
way. No way.
So does that make it less
Nostalgia's
memorable?
Dead.
This-
See, I don't think
Personally,
we can,
I think nostalgia's dead because there's too much stuff.
well, I don't think we can answer that because we're comparing our memories of stuff we've seen since then to stuff we've seen in our childhood
I'm
that we
not even-
remember.
I'm-
Somebody 12 playing
Yeah.
this game might remember it as well as we do stuff we
That's
remember.
fine.
But I'm
I'm not
saying-
answering the question. I'm posing the question. I don't know.
What?
I'm answering the question. I don't think that. I think there is too much stuff to it for you to be nostalgic about. Because when it's the only thing you spend all of your time playing it and replaying, there is no reason to replay anything ever anymore.
That's a good point. Well, it's interesting. I think that actually speaks one more topic before we should quit soon.
Yeah.
But the monoculture used to be more of a thing, right? Everyone had the same, 10 TV
Experiences or
the-
potential experience.
10 TV stations, 12 TV stations. Some people had cable, they had more, but even then, like, there was only so much. And it would be like, oh, that kid had Nickelodeon growing up. They can all talk about Nickelodeon. We only had like Kids WB. We can talk about Kids WB. My kids' generation, they don't have even that. Right? So, like, some of the kids would be like, oh, I grew up watching Sesame Street. Like, well, I grew up watching this channel on YouTube. I've never heard of that. I watch this other channel on YouTube.
I
It's
didn't
just
think
so,
about. I didn't think about how sad that's going to be.
yeah, so everyone's got this splintered upbringing, like with media.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not even.
But
thinking
not
this-
with like Bluey.
Yeah, but
The Bluey
There's
generation
a lot of
will
people
be.
who
They
don't
haven't-
watch Bluey.
didn't watch
There,
it.
there is a
because they
strong
literally just
contingent of Bluey, but there's a lot of people who
watching
don't.
egg opening videos on YouTube as your childhood. Like that's going to be a significant number of kids.
Yes, and it's for
I'm not thinking it's sad that there's not a monoculture. I'm thinking it's sad that egg opening videos are going to be like
There's going to be a
a
show.
high percentage of kids' memory of growing
Yeah,
up.
they're gonna be like, that egg opening video was my Vietnam.
I don't care. I don't care if they have 50 channels worth of different kids' animations to watch. Not watching any of them to me is the sad part.
Yes.
And yet there's so much media being made, but you still have things that like look as beautiful as this does. Like it's a video game and it looks amazing. That's my favorite thing about where we've gotten to with video game culture is it made a ton of money, it went mainstream, and even the stuff that's pretty good still looks insane. My head, you're like your grandparents' head would have exploded if he saw this.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be young Heihachi. He looks German.
He looks German.
It's German Heihachi. Heihachi.
I think I found a solution to your issue, Terry. And Chris kind of said this earlier, but I'm going to even go dig deeper. You need to buy a game you want to play, find a Let's Play of it, watch the cutscene on the Let's Play while you're playing the game, and then you turn off the Let's Play until you get to the next cutscene. You skip this cutscene, listen to it while you're playing the next section again.
That sounds so cool.
I'll do it.
So that way you can still ingest the passive media while you're doing the active media.
Yeah.
And that way you don't have to miss out on cutscenes by just skipping them and never watching them, but you don't have to wait for them to finish to play the game.
We didn't get to it, but there's also the cutscene that is a game a la Dragon's Lair,
Yes.
Quick time,
which is also very, very cool.
games with quick time actions and events and games like that, I hate, and I've always hated.
Oh, really? I think they're fun.
Because I feel like
come
they
out of nowhere and you're like,
That's the thing I hate the most. Well, that's the thing I hate the most. If I'm watching cutscene, I want to relax. I want to enjoy the cutscene. I don't want to be waiting to when I have to press a button to do a thing. And I definitely don't want that to cause the cutscene to end and restart. I've had games do that, and I've stopped playing the game altogether because I was like, this is garbage.
Man, I think after we're done, I'm going to go watch some cutscenes, which is insane. Not something I usually do, but now I'm like, all right, I got to check out some of these endings.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching Tubby Talk. Let us know what your favorite cutscenes are, what you think of the Switch 2, and your thoughts on the statue situation.
Y'all got favorite cutscenes real quick?
Yeah.
Oh, God. You always break the flow of the end.
I didn't know he was ending it until he broke into the spiel. And I'm like...
Wait, I could...
So, my favorite cutscene is World of Warcraft 3, when Arthas goes home to Lordaeron. He goes to his father. And it's done... I don't know if you ever saw it. I'll send you a link if you haven't. It's very cinematic. He basically... It's pre-rendered, but he basically walks up to his father, has like a soliloquy, and then kills him. And you see in shadow, as his father's head hangs, and then his crown falls off, and you see the crown roll with a spot of blood on the floor. And just like let it settle in the middle of the thing. He's like, "What are you doing, my son?" He's just like, "Succeeding you, father." And he stabs him. And it's very like Shakespearean and cinematic. And then we play World of Warcraft. There's a blood stain in the middle of the floor of the throne room where he killed his dad 2 games ago.
That's awesome.
And like, yeah, all the Blizzard cutscenes are really good, even out of context. Like they're made for the older games. They're made.
Yeah.
But I always love that cutscene. It pops in my head unbidden randomly, like now. Sorry, Chris. It popped up at the end of the game.
Did you have a cutscene?
Well, what I'll say is it's not a cutscene. It's an end credit sequence. I love the Mario RPG parade that happens at the end. It's beautiful, and if you're a guy who went to Disney World a lot, like my family were Disney people, and it turns into a light parade at one point, and it's just like, oh, that's amazing. And then it gets to the very end, and big old firework comes up, and thank you for playing. It's gorgeous, and you can just sit there and watch it for a while, and then eventually it'll kick into the original music of Mario Brothers. It's just, that's my favorite thing. Close second is the credit sequence, which would be a CGI. Sorry, I keep using the wrong words. It would be a cinematic, the Mario 64 ending, where I'm gonna bake you a cake, and the music kicks in, and then you go through the credits and everything. Dylan, just ending of Super Mario 64, please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Another one, Mario Brothers 3. I love that credit roll. Then it news.
Those I always kind of teared up at the end of those.
Yeah.
Mario 2, Mario 3, all of them.
Ending.
Do you have one, Chris?
You know, none jumps to mind, and I'm thinking,
that one's fine.
I don't really have. There's
credit sequence, like especially once we get to play, like you get to knock down all the names in the Mario Wonder.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like I did like that a lot. Like in the Wonder, it's like, oh yeah, names are falling. You got to break them, and you get high score for the credits. I was like, the last couple Mario games had those, like the 2D ones. I was like, this is great. This is so much fun.
Those are fun. Smash Brothers does it a lot. Just specific one. I'd have to think a little more. Yeah, this princess coming out. She was in the stained glass the whole time.
Doe.
I mean, These are 360 camera orbits. Like, they were doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
That was just Lakitu flying around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always love that. Come on, Mario. Let's bake you a cake.
He's the director and DP of Super Mario 64.
Yeah, the little hat making off. And
The implication is she was asleep the whole time.
Mario!
Whoa!
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the
Look at the
birds.
birds. Yeah, this one's special. But again, pretty easy. Great job. Thanks. We'll do something special for you.
Yeah.
Kiss you on the nose. Just what any Italian plumber really needs in life.
And then he grew fingers.
But it's this part right here where it goes into the cinematic, which is, I don't know, and it's the music too. It's
Yeah,
it's
the
a
music.
beautiful ending.
Something about the ending
you go.
credit music of like Mario games is really affecting.
Yeah. Well, for sure. This one was such a journey, especially when you finally got 120 stars. I remember like standing, just like sweat pouring down my face. It was like, I finally did it. That part, this part specifically, where we're like zooming around.
Yeah, I think this is still in game though. It's just
Yeah, it's in game.
yeah.
But the music that's going on and how fun. Man, look at that old font. Anyway, we got to wrap things up. See you guys.
See y'all.
I like that you just did a Mario wave. Da, 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 da.
Bye bye.
Young John!